Welcome to the Empowering Choices podcast. This is actually a welcome back because this is a part 2 as we're talking about.
Always welcome back?
Always
welcoming people back.
I think I sometimes do, and then I think one time you
and then
said,
sometimes you're just unfriendly.
Why am I welcoming people back? But I'm like, today is definitely a welcome back. If you missed the part 1, watch the part 1. And
then they wouldn't be welcomed back because if they're new,
that actually is true. So you got me. Okay, welcome. If you haven't watched part 1, watch it and then come back here and I'll welcome you back. But we've been talking about pets, family, pets.
So we're talking about a defense horse.
Yeah, sure.
Where we kind of ended last time, you mentioned defense.
That was your, like, we need to talk about part 2, defense.
Right.
And so here we are. So start talking.
We're here. Dogs, cats. We've seen a lot of different videos out there to where the family's pets have defended them. I mean, I never knew that a cat would actually defend its people until I saw.
How often does that happen?
Why? I don't know.
It's very often.
I mean, well, with the emergence of, cameras and cameras all over the place, I think we're finding it out more often than what we knew. I remember this particular video where like a 4-year-old boy was riding his bike and a pit bull attacked him. And out of nowhere, literally nowhere, a cat attacks the pit bull.
Oh my goodness.
And just flies out there and attacks the pit bull, drives the pit bull off and saves this little boy.
Wow.
And that was kind of the point. This is the family cat. And the pit bull was, the neighbor's dog. And so, I mean, we were talking about how animals provide, with just petting them, playing with them, interacting with them. It's, stress relief. It helps to have an emotional outlet, and being able to interact with them. There's also a sense of safety that can come. Even very big men do not want to tangle with big dogs.
I was startled by a dog just this morning when I was jogging because it came bursting out. I think it was just further up to the house, but this.
Yep.
And then I look and it's a relatively small dog.
Right.
But it startled me. And yeah, if it was mad and came charging across the street at me, it was on a leash behind a fence. But yeah, that would be a deterrent. Right. You don't want to mess with that.
Right. I mean, and they have done studies, with individuals who went to jail for, burglary, robberies and things. And they said houses that they would look for to avoid were houses that had little dogs for that type of a noise type of a piece. That was definitely a deterrent.
Even a little dog.
Well,
because of noise,
especially a little dog, because little dogs will be more
yappier.
They'll be more apt to bark as a part of their big kind of stand for you can't, I can take you type thing. But it alerts people. Well, now the element of surprise or hiding is gone. Whereas a big dog will be generally more silent depending on the breed and, whether it's, going to attack or not attack, they don't always know.
Right.
But they're looking for houses without dogs primarily. And so, but a bigger dog becomes more of a deterrent when you're out there in public.
Right.
You need your dog, because I have heard, lately that, there have been some attempted kidnappings, even though the woman had a dog with her. People aren't seeing labs or golden retrievers as necessarily that deterrent because they're more friendly,
right?
But I haven't heard it from people who were walking with a German Shepherd,
right?
Or a Doberman or a Rottweiler or, some of these bigger animals. I know in Salem, down in South Salem, I was driving through there one day and I saw a woman who was jogging and she had 2 very large dogs that I'm looking at them going, if I was walking, I'd cross the street because they looked like wolf hybrids, and so that becomes just an immediate deterrent. It's a lot of trouble and there is damage that, a dog can do to human flesh.
Right. Well, and I mean, the police use the dogs,
They do.
And so I feel like, especially like if I was leaving some kids home for the day And I knew that when there was a knock at the door, there's going to be a big loud, that would make someone think twice and maybe go somewhere else other than your home.
Exactly.
And so, so that's definitely a factor. So a long time ago, I started following a YouTube channel that is this person that now it's become like this big company, but basically they train dogs to become family protection dogs. And so they're pretty expensive, but what they'll do is they put them through like the same kind of police military training. And then these dogs, and I watch videos where they'll show, the dogs just playing with the kids, having fun, and then they'll send in, a bad person. And then once that bad person is about to snatch the kid, that dog just jumps on them. And so I've just kind of following that have found that fascinating, because some of it just naturally happens as a dog has a bond with kids and families, but then they're sort of purposely training the dogs to do that.
It's the next step.
Yeah, and it's a real thing. I mean, you basically have people who will pay a lot of money to get a dog that's been specifically trained in order to protect their family.
The Belgium Malinois, I think I'm getting close.
Right. I don't speak Belgian,
Right. The special forces use that dog, and they have trained it to where when they are moving forward, the dog may be moving backwards with them, so watching their back, or maybe in between their legs. And now what they've done is they've taken that training and to put it into society. They showed in that same video where a woman went up to an ATM and the Belgian Malinois turned right behind her. So his back was to her buttocks, just sitting there watching, because there have been a lot of women who have been attacked or taken when their back is turned and they're very vulnerable. And so that being an incredibly smart breed and highly trainable, and so there's a part of your defense,
right? And that's something you could train your own dog to do if they were a smart dog,
right? I mean, there are things that you could train into your dog. I have never heard of someone training that into their own dog who wasn't a trainer,
right?
But there are plenty of trainers out there who could do that.
Yeah.
The pet village where Indy was trained, they train police dogs in this area.
Yeah.
And so you can have those different levels that are trained into your animal, much like what you described.
Right.
When someone is, and you want to make sure that your family members know, you just don't walk in
right.
and grab your niece or your nephew. So there has to be some education in there.
Yeah. But yeah, when I was a kid, we lived on some land that was sort of in the middle of the woods. And I would be outside playing, and we would have our dog there that was a friendly golden retriever, but, made a loud bark and that kind of thing. And she would always notice, even sometimes before I did, when a car was actually coming down our long, windy drive. And then usually I would run inside. I actually, that was like my worst fear. I still have like dreams about running inside because I hear something. But I did feel better having the dog out there. And I think my parents felt better knowing that if somebody does come up there I am, and I've got a big dog with me.
And and then it goes to that training, because, some of these dogs are now being seen as, well, they're friendly, they're not going to do anything, or you can just push them away.
Yeah.
And so it really has to come down to where that training is at. I remember hearing a story about a boy and his parents. He was about 11 or 12. They had a house, had some land behind it, and it butted up to the woods. And so he was just up with his dog, just messing around in the forest. And he said he just had a weird feeling that like he was being watched. And when he looked around, he saw that, just so many, 10, it was more like 20 yards or so away, he saw a mountain lion, and the mountain lion was stalking him. And he did what you're not supposed to do, but, for his age, he did exactly what you would do. He ran back to the house. Right.
Yeah.
Or in that direction. Now, when he ran that way, his pit bull ran towards the mountain lion. And so he got down there. He told his dad what was going on. His dad said, "Where's, I'll just call him Bucky. Where's Bucky?" And he's like, "Well, Bucky passed me going towards the mountain
the other way.
I think he was trying to protect me." So dad got his gun. they went up there and they found Bucky, and Bucky had, some pretty serious wounds on him. And so they're trying to kind of get him going. He's still alive. And Dad just happened to look up and he noticed something in a bush like 10, 15 feet away. And he went over to that. There was a mountain lion dead.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
and so home protection, from a variety of different elements.
right.
And so, the animals provide a wonderful layer to our families, to our relationships.
Up to and including something that can help from outside things.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, did you have anything else on this particular topic, or have we wrapped up the pet series?
Did we spend enough with the cats? I mean,
I have a hard time envisioning this. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but to me, yeah, I would love to see it. That's something I want to watch some videos on.
Yeah, you've got to. You got to see some videos. How do you train a cat to do that? I don't think you do. I think they just
do anything.
Well, you can. I have actually done that. I've trained a cat to come at my command. And won what was a $5 bet with my best friend. Like, you can't do that. I'm like, bet me. You know? And so now I had to, and I did. And but it's kind of an innate part of that animal that is like, no, I'll choose when I protect. Because I'm sure there's lots of stories where something happened and the cat went, I'm out. You guys are on your own.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's your homework assignment. Look up the cat protection, and maybe there's a market there for starting a business, training cats, just like the dogs, for full protection. We'll see. But yeah, definitely let us know in the comments if you've had an experience or a time when you felt like having a pet with you helped make you safer or help deter something from happening. And like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.